We want you for the 2008 New River Airshow.
My name is Sergeant Cogill. I'm the gunner here on the M1A1 main battle tank we have out here today. My job is to identify and destroy targets out on the battlefield. The weight of the tank here is 68 tons. A 1500 horsepower turbine engine. It'll go about 42 miles an hour. It shoots the 4 rounds right there, the Sabo, the Impact, the Heat, and the canister round, which is a new round for us. We can shoot out to about 4,000 meters, which is about 2.5 miles, give or take. We have a new sight system in there. We can identify targets up to about 5 miles out now.
Well, the airplane is a B-25J, built in October 1944. It served with 396 Bomb Squadron, 41st Bomb Group, on Okinawa in the summer 1945. And had 12 missions over southern Japan. The gentleman is sitting up there right now with his daughter. His father was an armorer in the 41st Bomb Group. And that's the granddaughter of the same gentleman, the armorer. And yeah, that's really the story, is the veterans that flew these things. But this airplane stayed active duty in the Air Force until 1958. After the war, it went through a conversion where all the armor was removed, and it was used then as transport and trainer up until 1958. Surplus went to the boneyard, was sold in 1962. In 1962, it was converted into a tanker for use for fighting forest fires. Served in that role for a few years, and then was sold to some guys down in Florida. When they stopped using B-25s for tankers, and went down to Florida and they began to use it as a sprayer. There's crop dusting with this thing, spraying orange groves and spraying mosquitoes. Served in that role for a number of years until it was so full of corrosion and just wore out, and was donated to a museum that eventually went defunct, and it sat outdoors for about 15 years and just rotted away. Tom Riley got the airplane in the late 1970s and began about a decade restoration on it, and finished in 1986. When I say restoration, meaning the skin was taken off, the entire center section was rebuilt. Probably about 60% of the metal in the airplane had to be replaced with new metal as it was rebuilt. So it was a very extensive restoration. Finished in 1986. I bought it in 1997. I fly it about 100 hours a year doing events like this. You know, keep alive the story of the veterans that flew these things in World War II, because that's the real history. You know, the airplanes were the tools. They're the icons of our aviation history, but the real story is the veterans that flew them. Too many people today really don't understand the sacrifice of the veterans that flew in World War II. They were all volunteers. And at a time when, you know, many of these guys had less than a chance of a flip of a coin of even surviving their tour, but they still stood in line and volunteered every day. That's awful strong character.
This is the CH-46 Echo Sea Knight. The call sign for the squadron for the search and rescue is Pedro. Pedro is an international call sign for the search and rescue. This aircraft is the same model that you have in the flying squadrons that still remain at New River, the CH-46 Echo. Different paint job, no armor. The armor's been taken off to reduce the weight. No anti-threat or countermeasures. No dispensing of flares or chaff or any of that. So we gained some weight there. The mission that we have primarily, we have a SAR Condition 1, which is a 5-minute alert. The community, however, also benefits from Pedro, because we are a backup to the civilian medevac aircraft that we have parked on the other side. The criteria for us to launch for a civilian would be loss of life, limb, or eyesight. And obviously we have to have the weather to fly. We're uniquely qualified also above and beyond the civilian agencies, because we fly at night with night vision goggles. We have 2 pilots, whereas they fly with 1 pilot. and we can fly with a lower ceiling and a reduced visibility. We routinely will do hospital transfers of patients, and occasionally we'll get a call, a lost hunter. We've had lost children. We've had sinking vessels. The Coast Guard will call us out. We go out and either find or pull people off of a sinking vessel. So it's a multitask platform that not only serves the Marine Corps and all the armed forces, but it also serves the local community by providing the medevac and the search and rescue.
The air show, how did I start? Well, you know, it started when I was a kid, I guess. 10 years old when I saw my first air show, I decided then that I wanted to be a pilot. I saw these guys tumble airplanes end over end and fly upside down, and for a long time as I was growing up, I thought that was what flying was all about. As I grew a little bit older, I found out that not only can you do aerobatics in an airplane, you can actually take the airplane from point A to point B and actually travel with it and go different places. So it's always been something in my mind, something in my heart, and in fact, my first airplane ride ever, I was 15 years old, and I went flying with a guy by the name of Shirley Pardun. And on that flight, it was a Great Lakes biplane, open cockpit biplane, and we buzzed a lady on a horse. We flew under a bridge. We skipped tires on the water. We hit the tires on tassels on the top of corn. We flew underneath power lines, and we buzzed his girlfriend's house. I've been doing shows now for about 5 years. I did competition aerobatics, though. I was on the United States aerobatic team, traveled to Sweden, was U.S. champion, and I liked the competition side. It was a lot of fun. It pushed me hard. In fact, the existing airplane I'm flying was the airplane I took to Sweden, competed in the Worlds. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it's a great airplane. It's extremely aggressive aircraft. It's got about 325 horsepower. It weighs about 1,100 pounds, so the weight to power ratio is pretty great. And the roll rate on it, I deflect the stick full roll rate. I get a little more than 400 degrees per second of roll, and that's an absolute blur. I mean, everything just kind of blends together, so it's great. So it's got a lot of control, both in the tail section and the ailerons. Very light, lots of power, and it's a biplane. I've flown Russian Sukhoi, I've flown extra 300s. Yeah, I've flown a number of them. I have about 3,500 hours of flight time in aerobatic aircraft. I've tried a lot of different airplanes, and I keep coming back to my Pitts. This it's called a Super Stinker. It's called a Pitts S111B, and I like it because it's got the best of everything. It's got a biplane, and it has the characteristics of some of the hottest monoplanes out there. So out of all the airplanes that I've flown, this is my choice. And it's orange. Hey.